Let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus.
Very good.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malouse. Now, let's continue, traveler.
Hold the line!
I guess I'm finally on the right path.
So, this is your base?
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, then...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago.
Your father... He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosco.
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And my father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor, instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel. He refused. 3 years later, I still don't understand. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, if only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Demoiselle, please, if there is any...
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people. Love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we had...
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms.
Oh! Her? Well, then... isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him? Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't... She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but there was only a...
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal...
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel.
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensured them... Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end. Thanks. You two should go and rest.
Yeah!
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Paimon slept still, huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much...
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such
Guess Paimon was...
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have... I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vacher person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean...
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to... And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So no Nervalette maintains an archive of case files? In that case, let's go talk to him. Aren't you
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice.
Say what you mean.
The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied.
This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can take...
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is...
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalette. We only like to get in...
It's all right. Please let me know how
So you're not...
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth...
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the...
Who knew that Nervalette would be so easy to talk...
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just...
Is that so? All right, then. Thank you so much, Monsieur...
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man.
And what are you trying to say? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of... No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind... It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold... If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia,
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
you and my father are truly alike. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well my apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later? Great. Let's go then.
Clear skies can do nothing to hide the brilliance of lightning. Divine bolts can strike even in the absence of rain. Do you see that tree? Wait, you understand? So, demonstration is not required. Good.
Whoa, what a huge...
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like it, my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasion. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewer. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself...
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our... we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You still remember, right, Malouse? On that night?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to... At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extreme... As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun.
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared... Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person is probably... On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring... Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to... There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wish.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, what was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, Demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Maloose?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already... But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare... And the serial disappearances case caused him great... 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to...
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful were still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake, I'm sure he'd be extreme.
That fool. Couldn't he have just No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought... Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need... Maloose, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, when he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the... But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization there's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of... The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
That's true. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss, and I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigation.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula. Or at least, when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark. And if the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect. The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the...
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, it's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down the...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan.
I see. These are all people who I communicate. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's...
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extreme.
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a...
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the best.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
imagined that people could really turn into water. Here we go again, trying to crack an impossible case.
I see everything. Potential trap. Everyone hold hands. I see everything.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation.
Thank you for arranging everything. Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from...
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what?
If it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rusula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and—
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father.
You don't understand it.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our—
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever—
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about—
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, even if he fired the shot that killed my husband. It was likely in self-defense. It is impossible.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? Papa always wanted to be a good man. So why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah, Papa was a real—
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so to give you a—
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things—
Thank you. I'm very grateful. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really—
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florence should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into—
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside. And we found some clothes left after my partner here put the dots together for me. I feel like— Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat after that. He told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after? My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each—
So you also remember 2 gun—
Indeed. The guards said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring the gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the... But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel? Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Malus told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why. I'll tell you everything once the whole...
I understand. Then, I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus, even after so many years have passed. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula and live the life I lead today. No matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I respect the most. And he'll always...
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserved... Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia?
Oh, so you...
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make...
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Callus did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my... It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends?
Ah, yes. These two... What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle post. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more...
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do was get rid of the mecha serial number.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching, if I had to make an analogy. When you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost so I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for... Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me if you need it.
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just...
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw everything too.
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can...
Yes. I was reminded of your father's case right away.
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea.
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to...
Oh, you're giving us too much credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a... But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me... The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are...
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
we've talked to all 3 suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance. That makes...
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his boss.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order and seek protection from my father. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked, and with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of... Still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been also... Wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Florent? It is true that, but as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much means when it comes to...
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha arm?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole group... Thierry, you say? It is possible that he's figured, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tampering under wraps.
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how the...
Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through, Uncle...
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these 3, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the three, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant... Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other options. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. I've been looking for...
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about...
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui Harbinger...
What?
Yeah, we know him.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything...
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Right, because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr.
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of... Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home base. You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stop. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and hand the...
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Lenny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Malus, Silver, when...
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that it's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us by your side.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for...
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Let's go and try to find the entrance. Finally found it! So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the... You're right. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall for us.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearance?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel, in which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight. I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointment.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime...
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of...
That case had nothing to do with him! Huh? What's going on?
Why is she interjecting?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearance. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default. Correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for—
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to—
That person is— Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabaret—
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di...
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation. Knowing this, do you still wish to charge this man?
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may... Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney.
Apologies, sir. It all just happened so quickly. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case only through elucidating what really happened in that case.
Navia, do you really think that I was... Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my...
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to pull the trigger. In truth, the third person shot Jacques first. and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene.
Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities. The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, in the end, he reconsidered and instead shared everything with Callus. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility. This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a cost, but now it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene, and that they were turned into. Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their dissolved accomplice. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you...
But I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated...
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, 1, do you have the evidence to...
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence...
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around that time, regardless of age or gender.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little...
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself.
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved...
I've thought about this too. And the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there was the dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for my father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the...
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our lives.
Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had. But by staying silent, we retain the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father—
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for But since he entrusted his will to you, Clorand, you should tell us the truth about his
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was—
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic. And just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live. Or I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never—
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to—
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father—
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned, and at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized the culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet—
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pain.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna
It's timing. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, Demoiselle.
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish?
Seems like she got the wrong guy. At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me. And it never has. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who suffered tragic ends due to their sense of justice. Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure. And whose image do you? Is it a man named? Oh, so you do know that name?
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you.
Shine down! Ha! 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 Ha!
The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. We need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
There is no escape!
Think you can pull it? Everyone hold hands! Rest and rebound!
Illusion shattered!
Now the path is clear! Let's go!
There is no escape!
Everyone hold hands! Scratch! Hold the line!
Shine down!
After all that, we finally made it to the innermost. Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some evidence so we can get back. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water. That means this is where they make all the synth. And that special water is the main. If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth. But the pure stuff can dissolve a human. Paimon will take notes on this incriminating. Let's see what's written here. Nothing escapes Detective Paimon's eyes. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation report on him. Yep, it's about finding someone to assassinate Jacques and Callus because of a lack of confidence that Jacques himself. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members of his organization. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he will still have the upper hand. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option left is to I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. What's all this? Ah, pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things labeled with different girls' names? Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearance? And then they were... and all the boxes of things. These names. Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably probably just contained the mixing in progress, ready to drink, stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled. Whoa, there's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super obvious. Paimon can't tell how deep this pool. Paimon's gonna give it an ugly nickname like... What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place. Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial sea and use his theory as a foundation to achieve a breakthrough. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that... How can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact tone? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did all of these experiments. Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vacher is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vacher was no victim. No, that's not it either. If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water? In any case, Paimon will write it. We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theories were Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true... No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed everything to do with it that way. Even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. Paimon won't admit to... Lover's name? Then you found her diary. Aw, it's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so sweet, too. So many! A whole page's worth! But the final name she Marcel. Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so long that he's Vacher and Venier's grown... Hey!
And whose image do you see? Is it a man named... Oh, so you do...
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never...
I was waiting...
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner. I just knew you'd
Just how often do you intend to
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence,
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair, and we already... After your lover, Vignier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment. You even created Marcel as a new identity, and destroyed all records of your past as...
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances, and with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, you fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we...
You also never understood Boss's real expectations for his daughter.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination...
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next...
Do you really think I wanted to pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in... No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the maze, they said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vignier's death was brushed away by all of... Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, you only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice, your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye. Vignier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together, wherever she goes. But I'm not from this blasted place, so I can't be dissolved, no matter what I do.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go, I can't follow. So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have? I did all of that. And in the end, that accursed Callus still... I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain...
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! Vignier, please, Vignier, don't think badly of me.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually...
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearances case. The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vignier. During an underwater expedition, Vignier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vignier back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poissy. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case. The oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Miss Guilty.
Guards! Take... Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearance...
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true culprit would be such a polite and well-spoken guy?
Yippee! We helped Navia bring the back. He's hurt so many innocent people, and now he's finally getting what he deserves. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy.
Yeah. It's fun. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrong. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way,
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has...
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for
Please respect the laws of Fontaine. This is always...
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right?
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia. We now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse, guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine
Huh? This has never happened before. The oratrice?
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
The judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale is, by law, the fine. Guards, please take the suspect into custody.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know what happened there.
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible.
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment— Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part— and, of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expect. If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by this. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond— All shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my noble intentions, as well as the absolute correctness. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end. As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just—
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea. However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for— After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known he'd go to— Oh, Monsieur Neuvillette! That power you showed when you took him down.
I'm the Chief Justice of Fontaine, of course. If officers of the law lack the strength and capability to enforce it, then it makes a mockery.
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you—
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge.
No, wait. I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vache? I erased all records of that name.
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? How did you manage to do it? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all... Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me afterwards.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only done a ton of super...
This request, is it worth as much to you as...
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even...
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs? Very well. I will grant...
Your Honor.
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case, I shall leave him in your most...
Thank you! Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even Paimon could hear her after drinking that thing. Didn't you just drink a lot of it on the stage as well?
Vache.
Ah!
Yes, that's it. So you...
Vinière, it's me!
Vache?
I'm here! Where are you, Vinière?
Hey, wait! Be careful!
Vinière, is that you? It's me, Vache! Vinière!
Vache? Why did you come? You look a lot older than I remember.
It's been more than 20 years. All this time, only the thought of bringing you back has kept me alive. Nothing else mattered to me. I must be dreaming. Who would have thought I'd get the chance to tell you all of my feelings like this? Vinière, you are my everything. I really don't know how I...
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would... If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier... If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of... If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old. It's all because of your selfish...
Wait, you are not
You're right. I am not. Every woman who died by your hand. As our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea. And we were no longer individuals. But we became one. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not.
Why? But then...
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her This is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and... But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that you did? If she would despise you? You are a liar. A heartless murderer. The only thing you are not is Vinière's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vinière's, she has had nothing but pure hatred.
No! Vinière! She can't...
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vinière. But on top of that, she also said that because She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Vache.
Vache?
Vache.
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 Drown.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
Huh. Well met, partner. I knew something great was going to happen when I woke.
Even this weather can't put a damper on the demo.
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been a few days. Paimon's already started to miss you.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring home the bacon. Who wouldn't treasure having a partner?
Sounds like you're really enjoying life these days.
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between Poisson and the court since then. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he first died, since everyone knew that even if we held one back then, no one was going. This time, though, everyone in Poisson, and even many people from the court, all attended.
So his name's definitely been cleared now.
It's been the dearest wish of Demoiselle.
That blasted stubborn fool. I was right to put my faith in him. I'm so glad I didn't give up on the case all. Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew she would be there. And there was
Huh? So you know Charlotte too?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula, she was all over me. I believe the story was called The True Heart of Darkness. Secret Tales of the Yup. To be fair, though, it was a really flattering feature. So, we've been on pretty good terms. She was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearances case.
Oh yeah, she told us about that. She's always been super interested in that case, so now...
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both sound really cool.
Now that's another thing to look forward to. We trust Charlotte.
Oh, and in other news,
Oh, are you two on better terms?
While you were investigating Vache's headquarters, Clorinde gave testimony on my father's behalf. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her. I mean, there's also no point in being awkward all the time, so we took the chance to reconcile with each other.
Oh, that's great. Paimon also thought Clorinde wasn't actually a bad person.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually, there's still...
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave and tell him the truth of what happened. And on top of that, just...
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want to go too. We also think Callus is a really admirable...
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me. After all, without you, there might not have been such a positive ending.
And in that case, everyone, let's be off. Considering the recent weather, we'll be lucky if we can reach Poisson.
Yeah, you're right. It's been raining non-stop. Huh. This is where my father's grave is.
Huh? There's someone there already. Isn't that Nervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my respects.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown to the point that even the Chief Justice would feel compelled to apologize.
In that case, I will stop.
You really could use some pointers on in any case.
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a question over and over in my head. Just what is justice anyway? There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, or consider certain things to be more important than their own lives. Which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing. But Mr. Callus proved me utterly and decisively, if not for his sacrifice. The serial disappearances case. Mr. Callus made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and for many people completely unrelated to him. And in the end, from a certain perspective, one could say that he did it all. A justice that's higher than life. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callus in person. I should have noticed all of this much sooner. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the opera Epicles indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work in person.
So you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside, huh? That reminds me of Silver.
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say you...
So Navia and Novelette seem to... Let's not disturb them for now. We can wait till after they're done. Paimon's never paid respects at someone's grave before. Did Paimon do anything rude there? Huh? Oh, Paimon didn't know that was a thing? Oh no. Paimon hopes Miss Navia won't be too mad. Anyway, Neverlet is still standing around there. It's not often that we can catch him alone like this, so why don't we go talk to him for a bit? If we can't talk to Lady Farina, we can at least talk to him, right?
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to come pay your respects to her father?
Mm-hmm. We ran into Navia on the streets today.
I see.
Well, it's pretty hard to run into...
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure to return the favor.
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the primordial sea, but...
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only learned of its nature and existence after extensive research. There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of the sea we know today. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of...
Huh. So it really was where everything began. It makes sense.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface. What Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case, or a remnant from a truly ancient age.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know everything, Monsieur Neuvillette. But if that's the case, then...
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour life instead? To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. Is there anything else you'd like? That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good. Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's right! It was Linny that told us back then. And that...
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this prophecy directly. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world before she passed away.
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro Archon?
2 parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. We should be more vigilant and stay on the watch for further signs. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. And if the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina by her predecessor.
But with Farina being the way she is, can we really trust her to solve it?
Is there anything else you'd like? My apologies. My investigation has still not reached its... However, I still believe the judgment of the orator...
But...
For many years, I have been quite aware that the oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that I give. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
So when Linny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the oratrice's core is stored...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. I will add that to the list of... In any case, I am inclined to believe that the oratrice does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. She managed to bluff her way through it, though, with her time-tested twin tricks of... While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger will just have to bide his time in the fortress of Meripede. If we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him to the fullest extent allowed by the law.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like? Your sibling, another blonde-haired traveler. I'm sorry. If she ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure she followed our laws to the letter and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epiclese. Is there anything else? Very well. It was my honor to provide you with what answers I could. I very much enjoyed conversing with you. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind and return to Palais Memoria.
You really are super busy, Monsieur Neuvillette. Paimon thought you...
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work around the clock as well. This is merely...
All right. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
The world remains constant over the centuries, but human life is like the dew at dawn, or a bubble rising through water. Transitory.
Think you can bully me? I see everything! Rust and revamp!
There is no escape!
Can't run from
Shine. Take them. I have no need.
A drink, it is a treasure. Hold the line! Everyone hold hands! Allow me!
Illusion shattered! Now you shall perish! There is no escape!
Scratch that! This way, free! Hold the line!